Assalamu alaikum. Before I present my work, I would like to clarify a few things. Unlike Faria Ubaid, I did not have to Google to find the meaning of the word Generation Next. I have come up with my own definition. If you need glasses to read, if you need suspenders to hold your pens, and if you use if you use hair thickening products or mujahid, if you have to shave your head, not because it's a trend, but that's the only choice, you're not in Generation Next. I'm not in a denial, unlike few of my colleagues who have presented in this forum, who are trying to figure out how they fit into this conference theme. I know I'm not the Generation Next, but I think my presentation is for them. I would rather be the youngest in the older generation than to be the oldest in the younger group. Mine is a very professional, personal presentation about my journey as an architect and how my mentors and seniors have influenced me to take the path which I have taken. It is very important to have gurus in your life, and I feel that we have really lost the Ustad-Shagird relationship these days. Sometimes our seniors can not only give direction to your life, but they can change the way you think, as they have changed mine. And now coming to my presentation. Firstly, I'd like to thank the conference committee, Architect Moin Ahmed Niazi and Architect Zaigam Jafri for inviting me to this forum. Here, I've been given the opportunity to not only share my work, but also highlight my influences, decisions, and interests, which make up my journey. I think I've been lucky that I have always been encouraged by people close to me to do what I like doing. Starting from my parents, who showed positive support when I decided to become an architect and not join my father's business. In Daud College, Asif Sahab and Kosta Sahab were always there for me and encouraged me. During my student life, I had admired the works of 3 architects and later had the opportunity to interact with them on different levels and who have played an important role in my personal and professional development. My first job was with architect Habib Fida Ali. I had great respect for him and his work, but working with him not only helped me to become a better architect, but also introduced me to the world of art, textile, and architecture. I always had an excuse to go to his library, and on my way back, used to take my time looking at his art collection and develop my taste in that field. Working with architect Arshad Abdullah for the Institute of Architects Pakistan and then Indus Valley School presented me with the opportunity to work beyond architectural practice, and from him, I learned the art of managing time, balancing different tasks without losing focus. And of course, architect Akil Bilgrami, who still today not only teaches me to be a better human being, but also to stay calm and in control in any situation. I'm still learning that. I would like to also mention his better half, as she has helped me develop my interest in crafts, which has become a very important aspect of my work. These influences and many more have inspired me throughout my journey and have helped me achieve whatever I have so far in my life. After completing my master's degree, I joined Indus Valley School to teach full-time. It was at Indus when I developed an interest in printmaking, and encouragement from Naiza Khan and her 3 students, Farina, Sabba, and Amina, I participated in the first print box portfolio and started taking part in the faculty art exhibition. It was at Indus that I was working with people like Meher Afroz, Usman Ghori, and David Aylesworth, and many others, who kept encouraging me to continue with my artwork. It was also at Indus that I learned the word design intervention and its meaning from Shehnaz's smile, which came handy later in my life. After a year of teaching, however, I realized that in order to teach, it was essential for me to practice architecture as well. I began teaching part-time and joined architect Ali Naqvi. Together, we formed our firm, Ali Arshad Associates. It was during this time that my interest in design intervention and the development of crafts that led me to work with copper and copper craftsmen. And I started to design small tableware items. This never started as a commercial venture, but as my designs developed, I started displaying my work at Koyal and later moving them to my office's showroom. But it was after 12 years of practice at Arshad Associates when I reached a point where I had to choose. Although I was enjoying my practice there, but I wanted to do more. I had to choose between continue working at an established practice or to start something from scratch to incorporate what I believed in. It was not an easy decision to make, but after a lot of thinking, I left my practice and arrived at what I have called point zero. It was then when I started my banner, Copper and Steel. I wanted to create a place which would not only reflect my work, my style, my taste, but would also show my interest in crafts and design. It was a design house where I was practicing architecture, designing interiors, landscaping, designing tableware, furniture, and fountains. These are a few slides of my office where I work. Alongside this, I continued to teach at Indus Valley School, and I was actively involved in IAP, and I was also curating exhibitions, compiling and editing books, and working on my art. At Copper and Steel, the approach towards my architecture and interior projects evolved. Before, I was concerned with how my architecture was viewed from the streets, but then I started to focus on a more introverted design. I don't think I'm an architect who wanted to have a signature style, but I wanted to develop spaces which would give pleasure to the end users, and my designs reflected my clients and their lifestyles. My architecture was for them. I started working with colors, materials, and textures, and most importantly, integrating art, textiles, and craft into my work. My interest in landscaping also developed and became an important feature in my designs. I never believed in the idea of labeling myself, or for that matter, anyone else, as an architect, a designer, or an artist. We all come under the umbrella of visual arts, and we should always try to work and interact with other disciplines. With this idea in mind, for IAPEX 2009, when I was the curator for that year, I introduced the idea of celebrating architecture. I worked with a completely new team of architects, mostly young and dynamic, under the guidance of conference guru, architect Zegam Jaffrey, as the only senior architect from the boomers generation. It was the first time that IAPEX was open to other disciplines such as visual arts, performing arts, textiles, and designs. The exhibitions included textile exhibition Unbleached, curated by Rizwan Beg, photography exhibition Architecture by Amin J, and Celebrating Karachi, an art exhibition by Samira Raja, where artists, architects, and designers all participated in all three exhibitions. I always try to create a dialogue between different disciplines and encourage other architects to do so as well. Being a member of the Koyal Gallery Committee, I decided to curate a show, Architecture Beyond the Board. Being the first show I curated, I wanted to share it with my friends and colleagues. I enjoyed the idea of bringing 7 very diversified architects under one roof and also make them go beyond the board. Up till this point, my own work was architectural and two-dimensional, but the restrictive parameters of my space made me go out of my comfort zone and experiment with a more three-dimensional piece. What I came up with was an installation titled 3 Shades of Red, Happiness, Love, and Jealousy, where I questioned the common day symbols and what they represent. It was only after this exhibition that my artwork also evolved. And for my next exhibition, I worked with the concept of phobias. My first and only book so far is Architecture, which was the direct result of IAPEX 2009. For the first time, 7 leading and upcoming photographers were able to compile their work in a book about Karachi, with essays from Habib Fidali, Shiraz Vania, Samina Ibrahim, and Arif Hassan, amongst others. It was during the making of this book that I formed Black Olive Publication with my partner and prominent photographer, Amin J. Just Copper was an exhibition which is very close to my heart and labor of love. After working for over 10 years with Copper, I finally had the confidence to do a solo show. I developed designs based on traditional forms and utensils, and different techniques such as hammering, scoring, and etching were incorporated into my contemporary forms. The idea was to bring this craft from market to a gallery. Most recently, I was the curator of the exhibition 21 Chairs. Again, architects collaborated with other architects, designers, and artists. And 21 chairs were designed by a total of 45 designers. Apart from IAPEX, this was the first fundraising project for the IAP House. I'm currently working, I'm currently working on my second book, 8 with Amin J, which has 8 photo essays by architects, photographers, and writers, and compiling a book on 21 Chairs exhibition, and also developing the theme for my next exhibition for IAP titled 21 Cubic Feet. The details will be followed soon. Along with these projects in pipeline, I'm enjoying my life and work and very happy where I am, doing yoga, swimming, working with Copper, designing furniture and fountain, working on my book and art, landscaping, interiors, and of course, architecture. From point zero till today, it has been a long journey, and I'm still looking forward to some more exciting exhibitions, books, and projects. Thank you.